Terence Crawford defends Kell Brook for WBO World Welterweight title. This is BWTM Sports Gaming. Let's get into things. So we're talking about Kell Brook and his challenge against the pound for pound #1 fighter in the world. Terence Bud Crawford. Many recognize him as the best fighter in the world today. So it will be interesting to see how this fight actually turns out in the end. But for this particular video, I'm going to do something a little different. Rather than just say, here are the two guys, this is what we expect, or just like most channels say, oh, Crawford's going to smash Brook or Brook's going to smash Crawford. We're going to give you a few different things to consider in this fight, or at least to look out for. Been a lot of talk recently on this channel, and I've been quite vocal about saying the sport of boxing is corrupt. And I'm going to use this fight potentially as an example of how corrupt this sport might just be. I don't sit here behind a keyboard and you hear my voice without some experience. I sit here being a part of this sport, from being a former boxer myself to being involved in some of the biggest fights in boxing from media perspective, speaking to some of the most top trainers in the world, and because of the age of some of these trainers, having a historical look at the fight game, and through the years making predictions, sometimes making great predictions in terms of like the Andy Ruiz fight, the Dillian White fight, and many more to say, that where many have come on this channel and took time to laugh and ridicule. And what has happened is, for the most part, what I've said has come to fruition. Terence Crawford, now one of those fighters I said would have to leave Top Rank a long time ago, would have to leave Top Rank to find out just how good he actually is. Now, it's easy to say Terence Crawford is the best pound for pound fighter in the world, if that's what Top Rank want to spin to you. Now, Terence Crawford by far is a very talented fighter. Is he pound for pound the best fighter in the world? Well, let me ask you just this question. As I said in this video, there's more than meets the eye with this fight. If you read across, or you watch Facebook, or you go on Twitter, you're going to hear people say, Crawford smashes Kell Brook. He destroys him. Okay, I hear that. And that's the usual thing that's said by these people who do no research, who don't study. What they do, they just follow what the narrative is. But stop a second, and let's pick sense from nonsense. When you look at resume for this fight in the welterweight division, who has fought the better opposition? Terence Crawford has fought a faded Amir Khan. Terence Crawford has been considered the pound for pound #1. But if you look at the resume of Brook, you'll see Brook has fought Porter. Brook has fought Spence. Two guys who are legitimately in the top 5 of the welterweight division. Spence, would people say, is number 1. And then you look around that, Porter's fought Thurman, he's fought Garcia, he's fought Spence. Spence has fought Porter. Okay, so when you look at that alone, and then you look at Kell Brook, and then you look at Terence Crawford, for him, this is very much a step up fight. Khan was never a fully fledged welterweight. He may have fought at welterweight, but he didn't start his career at welterweight. He was never a bona fide welterweight. Light welter, yeah. Welterweight, when them guys started punching him hard, there were problems. He even had chin problems at light welter. Okay? But Brook is a different specimen. He's a physically strong welterweight. Nobody blows Kell Brook out of there. Let's get that straight. Nobody blows Kell Brook out of there. And the second thing is, when you look at this fight, who has Terence Crawford blown out of there in the first couple of rounds? He hasn't. Brook is more, you look at his size and his build, he's a 147 that can make like middleweight. He's fought middleweight. He's fought Golovkin. He's fought Spence. And I ask people the question, just for a second. If you put Crawford in the ring with Golovkin, would the results have been any different? If you pull Crawford down from middleweight down to welterweight to fight Spence afterwards, would the results have been any different? Would Crawford have beaten Golovkin? Would Crawford have beaten Spence after fighting Golovkin? Would you have done that? Well, forget that. Would you have beaten Sean Porter the night that Brook fought Porter? These are questions I'm not sure fight fans would be readily quick to answer with any assurity. When you look at it like that, and you look at the 2 defeats Kell Brook's had, because he was either daring to be great, or he was challenging himself, or he was thrown on the bus. Either one of those scenarios, Crawford hasn't had to do in his career. So for those people knocking Kell Brook comes in the far more experienced man on the night. Kell Brook comes in a fight having fought the better opposition at welterweight. Never mind going up to middleweight. So then you have a man here that throughout his career has been well looked after at Sky. He's had the backing of Eddie Hearn. So when you've got that situation where you're backed, you're supported, you're the man, and you don't really have to fight for anything because you know you're going to be on Sky, you get yourself in the gym, you get yourself in shape, you fight. It's not as simple as that, and I'm not disrespecting Kell Brook. But when you've got that security there, you know the money's coming in, you don't have to worry about TV deals. It's different. And you can kind of get lackadaisical. But now you have a situation right here, right now, where Kell Brook is back against the wall. He's had to fight to get a different TV deal. He's been left out to dry by his promoter or his ex-promoter, whatever the case. But basically, it's every man for himself. And he has a situation now where he doesn't have the security of a TV deal. He now has to be on Premier Sports, a guy who's been on Sky Sports for so long. And he's got the world against him. That can do one of two things. You either put up or you shut up. Now, there's a twist to all this. This fight has taken a major twist. And I tell you what, it's a twist that could have bad ramifications for Mr. Crawford. So Mr. Crawford's talking about going to PBC. Okay. Well, that's nice if you didn't have a fight lined up. That's nice if you weren't fighting a guy that potentially has the power to stop you. Let me break this down even further to you. Now, Kell Brook, for all his chocolate brownies, I can't put my finger on a world-class fighter that he stopped. I don't know. Somebody please correct me in the comment section if you know a world-class fighter that Kell Brook has stopped. Now, I don't think that Terence Crawford's got a world-class chin. I've never believed it. But I believe he's got hand speed, reflexes, and good defensive skills and long arms to avoid himself getting hit. But this is the first time that Crawford's fighting a guy who hits just as accurate as himself, hits spitefully hard. I'm not sure if Brook is a one-punch knockout artist at the highest level. He's got an accumulation of things when he hits you. Now, Crawford is in a very dangerous situation here because I had the pleasure, it was a pleasure to meet Uncle Bob Arum, and the interview is on the channel. And I asked him about Dillian Whyte's situation at the time. I asked him about the zone, which he calls dead zone. But in the press conference, if you go back and listen to the press conference, the one thing he made quite clear is that he doesn't like Al Heyman. He made that crystal clear. And I can't see, in the way this man thinks, or the way his promoters have worked historically, that they would allow Bud Crawford to just leave Top Rank and just walk over to Al Heyman, unbeaten and without a scar. You see now, so I understand that Brook's training in the Top Rank gym. So, could there be potentially a situation where there's a bit more top up on the chocolate brownies? Could there be a top up on those chocolate brownies? Could it be this be the night where we see the corruption in boxing striking again? What would we have to look for? Do we have to look at the judges? Do we have to look at the referee? What sort of judges are we going to have? If it goes to points, is it going to go for Crawford or is it going to go for the man from the UK? This question I put to you. How is it that Manny Pacquiao and Timothy Bradley had a press conference, and when there was a press conference before the fight even happened, Timothy Bradley came out with a poster for Pacquiao versus Bradley 2. And that night, I predicted that Bradley would win the fight controversially. And sure right, he did. And guess what? Timothy Bradley now is a company man for Top Rank. So, to me, this fight has more to it than people are giving credit for, or they're not looking at this fight. Okay, Brook, I'm not sure about Brook's eyesight. That is something I'm questionable about. But there's one thing I know. I think he's the bigger man in the fight, but bigger doesn't mean better. But he's the bigger man in this fight. The rehydration clause will be something. And this is Top Rank. And they've had a few controversies in their camp. And they currently have a situation at the moment. We're not going to go into that on this video. But for me, we have a situation here where all might not be in the up. All might not be on the up. Brook hasn't knocked anybody out at world level. So we know this going in. We know the judges, we know the referee. We don't know the judge and we don't know the referee yet. I don't know. Will the referee allow Brook to fight? Will the referee be fair to Brook and unfair to Crawford? What can they do to upset Crawford on the night? That's the question I ask. It's not a popular question, but we know Crawford's talking about going to PBC. And we know for a fact that Arum doesn't like Heyman. At the moment, Brook looks smaller than Crawford at the moment. But let the fight in rehydration clause and let Brook rehydrate. Then we'll see how small Brook looks and how big Crawford is on the night. This is a guy who's had a career at welterweight, but he could probably walk around at middleweight. I mean, he went in there and he was able to hurt Golovkin. So if he can hurt Golovkin, he can hurt Crawford. But I know Crawford, as a fighter, very spiteful, and they will target the eye of Brook, no doubt. No doubt. So we also know one thing. If you look at the fight between him and Spence, it was back and forth. We look at the fight between him and Golovkin, it was back and forth. You know what I mean? What Brook has to do against Crawford is when he hits him with a shot, he's going to hit him with 2 and 3 shots. Okay? He's got to back Crawford up. He's got to get Crawford's attention from the first minute. He's got to go out there and fight like his whole career depends on it. And Kell Brook, throughout his career, has never had to do that. He's never had to fight at a point where his career is depending on it. When he got beat by Golovkin, oh well, you can move back down to welterweight and you can fight. You've still got the Spence fight. You've still got the IBF title. Oh well, you got beat by Spence. We can rebuild your career. He's never had a situation where he's had to fight for his life. He's never had a situation where he's had his back against the wall like this. So, I hear a lot of people talking about the eyes getting mashed up and everything, but you're talking about Spence and Golovkin that did the damage, right? I don't know if Crawford is as good as those two guys. I know that Spence fought Porter in a damn tough fight, right? And I know about Sean Porter, but I know Crawford's not faced any of those guys. So Brook's faced Porter, he's faced Spence. Are you guaranteed for sure that Crawford could beat those two guys? Are you guaranteed for sure he would beat Golovkin? What we're calling him pound for pound. I'm not so sure about this pound for pound #1 rating. I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure about Crawford's chin. And I'm not so sure about if Crawford gets backed up and hurt, how he responds. I don't know. By a physically bigger and stronger man that can box. Brook can box. Brook can box. And then you've got a man that's in there that's dangerous because his back is against the wall and he has to fight. They're the worst kind of guys to face. And you've come off a layoff yourself. You haven't fought for a while. So you're not just fighting a guy this is a guy that's gone up and fought Golovkin. So he's going to have no fear of Crawford. Anybody who's sitting there thinking, yeah, Brook's going to be scared of Crawford. Really? He's fought Spence and he's fought Porter and he's fought Golovkin. So there's no way Crawford's going to be hitting him harder than Golovkin. And Golovkin couldn't knock him out. Golovkin couldn't knock him out. Right? He was still standing on his feet. He was still on his feet. He had to take a knee because he got hit in the eye. And the eye went. And anyone else who would get hit in the eye with the sort of damage he could cause in his eye would do this similar thing. So all well talking on the keyboard, you get whacked in your eye and your eye sockets go, you'll go down as well. Potentially you being blinded. You know what I mean? So I'm not one of these who just starts to blow smoke up fighters' asses because the promoters say so. And there's a lot of people on here that will just blow smoke up people's asses over and over and over again, and they never learn a lesson. They never learn a lesson. So let's see what people are saying in the room. Let's start off. Let's go in the comment section. Oh, by the way, let us know where you are speaking as well. It's great to know where you are in the world listening to this. Check out the messages inside the box that I've left behind. To subscribe, to like the channel, and if you're on RSS, do check that out as well. If you've got an RSS reader. Ruben says he's saying he's open to leaving Top Rank once contract over. I have a conspiracy for you, Ingram, but he gets robbed because Uncle Bob knows he's on his way out. Yep, that's about right. Hello, Ingram. Seeing that there is no rehydration clause, Kel will make weight and come in and fight right around 165 probably. That makes it closer than 50-50 fight than people think. Of course. But again, if you look at Crawford's resume at welterweight, there's nobody Crawford's beaten at welterweight that Kell Brook couldn't beat. Come on. If Kell Brook fought the Green Machine in a WBO an IBF title defense, people would be slamming him. See what's going on here. One of the reasons why Crawford does not blow people out in a few rounds is he spends a few times figuring guys out. A slow starter. If Kell starts fast, will this push Crawford to come from behind since he's 4 or 5 rounds down? Yeah, that's true. Crawford doesn't start fast. And when a guy doesn't start fast and he's thinking about what he does, that's why Brook's got to come out the tracks fast and hit Crawford with everything he's got early. Bum rush him. Don't be surprised if Crawford has to get off the canvas from a flash knockdown. He exchanges a lot, but I don't think this one's going the distance. No, I don't either. Kell Brook has not stopped world-class chins, but he has the ability to hurt someone with a stinging shot. Remember the 4 times Golovkin got hurt, or when he got Spence off him in the first 5 rounds? Yes. He hasn't stopped any with world-class chins. But has Crawford got a world-class chin? That's the question I ask. I think when Kell Brook's career is over, many will talk about him as great that could have been. Career was so mismanaged, so many missed opportunities. Potentially, yes, you're right there. I would agree with that as well. Definitely agree with you on that. Brook looked smallish at the press conference. Just wait till he rehydrates. I feel good in my body. The chocolate brownie. Kell Brook. Well, will it be an upset if Kell Brook beats Crawford? Not really. Because Crawford's resume at welterweight isn't great. Let's just keep it real. What I want to see is if the ref will allow the inside work that Brook uses to establish himself in a fight. I think Brook is dangerous mid-range to up close. Yeah, the uppercut's key. And that straight right hand. If there's enough left in the tank, it'll be a good fight. Yeah, I believe so too. I was in a street fight once, and got hit so hard I was blind for a few seconds. It's dangerous and a vulnerable time. Yes, it is. What's your thoughts on slow starters like Bud, Usyk, and Loma, in your opinion? Can a good trainer reverse this? You get a guy to start fast, but the thing is, the starting slow isn't a physical thing. It's a it's a mindset. There are reasons why a fighter, you're looking at guys there that are very analytical. You're looking at guys there who are taking time to get themselves into rhythm. They're looking to calculate when to throw the jab, when not to throw a jab, when to throw the right hand. They're looking for mistakes the other fighter makes. They're looking to make themselves comfortable. They're like, what they do is like almost like they're building. The best way to describe those guys are if you've seen a dog or a cat before they get on a bed, what they do is scratch the surface. So they make themselves comfortable and then they lay down. That's what boxers are like. What they do is they are, when they're scratching the surface, they're kind of like making it comfortable for themselves. Comfortable to throw the jab, comfortable to throw right hand, comfortable to throw the left hook, comfortable. And then when you think, yeah, this is set, I've set my ground, I've got my ground set now. Right, now I'm going to lay down. Lay down would mean this is where I'm going to start throwing my punches with authority. This is where I'm going to start putting my combinations together. This is when I think I've got my guy. This is where I feel I'm comfortable, I'm safe. So basically, guys like that are looking for safety, comfortability, be able to set their stores up, get into a rhythm. With guys like that, you've got to jump on them from the first round and break their rhythm. For the most part, guys like that, when you jump on them, they don't know what to do. They don't know how to respond because their mindset is set as they've got a rhythm. They've got a rhythm. That's why you see certain people get outworked. Like you saw the fight with recently with Breakus and McCaskill. I knew McCaskill was going to win that fight because Breakus fights that sort of one gear all the time. I've got to get myself together. I've got to fight a few rounds to get myself together. And while you're calculating all that stuff, you're getting hit with left hooks and right hands. And when you get to the point where you're comfortable, 5 or 6 rounds in, you just found your 5 or 6 rounds down. So if I'm Brook and I'm Brook's team, I say to him, look, first half of the fight, get out there and put it on Crawford. Second half of the fight, he's going to come for you. Start countering him. So the first 6, go at Brook, go at Crawford and see how much punishment can Crawford actually take? How many people have actually gone and put it on Crawford that are big enough and strong enough? You know, Crawford has had the physical advantages in fights. He's had physical advantages in fights. Now he's in a guy who's physically strong, maybe just as long as himself, and has got power. You know what I mean? I saw him in the press at the weigh-in where he was trying to, not the weigh-in, where he was trying to put it on Brook and Brook step back. But Brook's been there before. He's fought bigger guys and better guys, arguably than Crawford. This is meant to be a pound for pound number 1 guy, but the guy that he's fighting has fought better opposition than him. How does that work out? I think there's only been one occasion or two occasions for Canelo where he's got in the ring and the guy's been actually technically better than him. Or one guy, which has been Floyd. We can argue over the Lara fights, the fight with Lara. I won't argue the Golovkin fight. Yeah, very risky averse fighters allow first rounds to allow for our opponents to let off steam. They want to predict everything their opponents will react to. Danny Swift Garcia, another slow starter. In the Durban fight, Keith started incredibly fast and before Garcia knew it, he was 4 or 5 rounds down. Yeah, but in that fight, Thurman did exactly the right thing, which was he rocked Garcia early. So he made Garcia not only think I'm 4 or 5 rounds down, I'm actually getting hurt as well. When you talk about guys' experience, you can fall into that trap of experience by doing exactly what the experienced fighter wants you to do, which is boxing at their pace, which is allowing them around to tally up and get themselves comfortable. That's what experienced fighters do. So when people talk about, oh, he's got more experience than him, he's got more experience doing what he usually does. But once you take them out of that experience, once you give them something different, they no longer have experience in that area. So when I hear people say, oh, he's got more experience than him, yeah, he's got more experience doing what you allow him to do. But when you put it on a fighter early and you rock them and you hurt them, it's like, this is a different experience. If Brook were to go out first round, get out there, hit Crawford with something and drop him, flash knockdown, we've got a different fight there. Do you understand? So it's about What experience is Brook going to give Crawford? I saw an advertisement for Katie Taylor's upcoming fight and was absolutely disgusted when they call her an icon with Jessica McCaskill undisputed in our midst, and she did things the hard way. I know. That just shows you what world we're in, mate. Shows you the world we're in. And I predicted McCaskill would be a world champion. When people were on here again and said to me, McCaskill, she got beat by Katie Taylor. You have to laugh, don't you? You just have to laugh. I don't think Canelo's a slow starter. He had endurance issues that are almost turned the corner, but now he has low tank moments. I think it's the way Canelo. Jim Watt made a statement years ago, and he's correct. The way you train is the way you fight. And I believe that Canelo. Have you ever seen Canelo fight 3 hard minutes for 12 rounds? Canelo fights like Eubank, senior. I'm talking about. Throw some punches, take a breather. Throw some punches, take a breather. Go for a walk, take a breather. The guy that beats Canelo is going to be a guy that just puts it on him for 12 rounds. Puts it on him for 12 rounds. Or one who's a good mover. Those are the 2 type of guys that are going to beat Canelo. One who puts on him from round 1 to round 12, right? And even Golovkin. Golovkin fights with his face. So I don't, you've got to go about it when you're going about fighting Canelo. You've got to have a bit of technique about you. Or you got to be like someone like Lara, who's moving. He doesn't got better managing. No, he hasn't got better managing the gas tank. What's happened is the opposition have been tailor made for him. So yeah, are we looking at the pound for pound number 1 fighter in the world? I asked the question. I also asked you the question. Are you sure that Terence Crawford could beat Canelo? Not Canelo. Could beat Golovkin and beat Spence back to back? Could he do that? Because for the most part, for all his career, Crawford's had it his way since he's been at top rank. I guarantee you, if he goes to PBC, he ain't going to have it all his way. The way Canelo trains, I think he's living a little bit in the gym before the fight. Reynoso has to rein him in. Yeah, well, but it's how Reynoso's training him and how Canelo's training. If you watch him in sparring, like even that clip there with him in the heavyweight, you see it. He's taking his time, and then he explodes. Taking his time. So that's a pattern that Canelo's had, and I don't think it's going to change in Canelo's career. So you've got the blueprints there on how to beat Canelo. You're either going to start at a hectic pace and put the pressure on him from round 1 to round 12 and keep that pressure and back him up against ropes and keep him there, or you're going to be a mover for 12 rounds. Stick and move like Lara. If Crawford wins, I think TBC is number 3 in welterweight. Well, okay. Let's give you some guys. First of all, does he beat Keith Thurman? Does he beat Sean Porter? Does he beat Errol Spence? Does he even beat Ray Robinson? I mean, people say, yeah. I had some guy come on the channel and say, yeah, it was amateur days. And yeah, he's not this and he's not that. Well, if Ray Robinson is so poor and such a poor fighter, why doesn't Crawford fight him? He fought the Green Machine. Why does he fight Ray Robinson if he's such a poor fighter? And then Crawford said, which is what Ray Robinson said, he said, he didn't want to fight Ray Robinson because of his losses. How many losses has Brook got in his career? But does he need to beat GGG and Spence to beat Brook? You see, this is when you see you are the lines of critical thinking for you are it's not really your forte, is it? Let's be honest, Ruben. Critical thinking really isn't your forte. I use the example here of what Crawford would do. People are knocking Brook because he got beat by two guys. Could Crawford beat those two guys? That's the question. I'm asking you a question. That's the question I'm asking. I didn't ask you a question to ask me this. Nonsense. Just pure nonsense. Yeah, you have to laugh. You do have to laugh at him. Crawford beats the current and ruined Keith Thurman, Spence, and Garcia and Porter. I don't know, man. Yeah, I think one time lost his record with his wife. So now I think she renamed him. She rebranded him from one time to Payday. You know, he's Payday. He's almost looking like Garfield now. Keith Thurman. He looks like Garfield now. Do you know what I mean? There's one boxer today who looks like Garfield. It's Keith Thurman. He's become like Garfield. Not my fault you use a poor example. Why is it? No, I'm not even giving you the time of day. The time of day. My point is this: Brook lost 2 fights to 2 guys that are arguably better than Crawford. That is my point. Question I ask: can Crawford move up to middleweight and fight Golovkin at the same time that Brook did that? And if Crawford was able to fight Golovkin, would he have beaten Golovkin and then move him back down and then get him to fight Spence? Would he have beaten Spence? That's the question I asked you. It's not a poor example. Just put it to you that way. But again, Ruben, again, I don't know what your angle is, mate. I never have understood you. You're a strange one. That's all I'm saying. So if anybody else has got anything else in the room to say, then yeah, intelligent, then please. Keith Thurman had 2 career damaging injuries, the elbow and the shoulder, and he's not been anywhere near explosive as before. Nice wife though. Yeah. Fair play to him for that. Yeah, but his injury, Thurman's not been the same since the Diaz fight. So since then he's not been good, and I've been telling people that. So you know, you know, it's not good. So right, I think that's it for me. By the way, I hope you've checked out our new trailer for BWTM Sports. Shortly, and very shortly, you won't have to be coming to YouTube anymore because everything's going to be on an app. Very shortly, BWTM Online is going to be an app, which is going to be on Apple, and it will be also on Android. And if you really want to go there, it's also going to be on Android TV and Fire Stick. So BWTM is branching out. And to that young man who said to me years ago, Ingram, you need to get yourself on Fire Stick. Brother, I listened. It took a little longer to get there, but we're finally getting there. I think sometime, hopefully next week, the app will launch. We're just having some delays due to COVID. COVID's delaying everything. But as of next week, we'll have an app, which is going to be great. Mobile app. It used to be that if Furman jumped in the ring with almost anybody, I would bet Ingram's uppercut would win. Now I'm not so sure. You're a joker. You've got this fascination of me having a fighting career. Funny, you're a funny guy, you are. You're a funny guy. Wherever you are, you're very funny. Right, let me get out of here. I hope you've enjoyed. I hope you like the trailer, the trailer for BWTM Sports Gaming. For those of you over on Twitch, much love to you. Hope that you're well. For those of you watching this on Facebook, just like the videos as you do on Facebook. I really appreciate the love that you're showing us on Facebook. And the BWTM community is growing. So I'll talk to you all very soon. Don't forget to rate, subscribe. By the way, smash the like button in the replay. Just to let you know as well, the YouTube algorithms. It's very important that you hit the like button because when you hit the like button, it lets YouTube know it's a watched video. So do smash that like button and do smash the subscribe button. A lot of you still not subscribed to the channel, so hit the subscribe button. And a lot of you who are subscribed, just double check and see. Hit the notification bell as well because YouTube back in January, wiped a whole load of people off that had notification bells, wiped them all off the notification bell. So if you're missing on these videos, it's because you're not hearing that notification bell. You should check that out as well. Right, we get out of here. Enough talking for me. I'll do some FIFA today as well. And I want to talk a little bit more about Fury versus Wilder 3, the courtroom.